Have you ever said yes when you really wanted to say no? Many people have that problem. They are classic people pleasers. How do we overcome being a people pleaser? Well, I'm going to give you 5 practical steps for overcoming people pleasing and learning to say no. Now, why do people this is a tongue twister. Why do people please? Well, usually it's for various reasons. One is that they don't want to hurt other people's feelings. Okay. People pleasing is more than about being kind. It is actually putting the needs and desires of others above your own. There's a time and place for that, but it should not be a chronic condition where you're chronically putting the needs and desires of others above your own needs and desires. And so, it comes in many forms, whether it's someone asking to borrow money on a regular basis. Perhaps they don't even pay it back. But even if they will pay it back, if it's something that's inconvenient for you at the time, you should be able to say no. What's another reason that people find it hard to say no and find themselves people pleasing? Well, they may have low self esteem. Sometimes when we don't value ourselves as much as we should, and we think others are more important than we are, then we tend to want to please them in order to win their approval. And so, again, we're people pleasing because we don't want to disappoint. We want people to love and accept us, when in reality, they may just be using you because they know that you do not know how to say no. No, we're going to remedy that. What are some other reasons that people might people please? Sometimes we people please because of family tradition. If the family expects you to say yes whenever they want something, then we might find it hard, especially when those family members are, maybe our parents or some other authority figure in our lives. We somehow feel that we can't tell them no, or we're not supposed to tell them no because it would be disrespectful. This is not true. Sometimes we have to say no to family members, whether they're parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, whomever. We have to be our own person, and our family members should be willing to allow us to be our own person. Now, I'm talking to a group of people who are probably my age, in their 50s. And believe it or not, many of us still have that problem, even in our 50s, telling people no. Especially our adult children. We may have children that, are maybe getting themselves into trouble. They need, some money for this, or they need to live in the house with us for a few months for the fifth time. If that's not convenient for you and it's something that, has been taken advantage of over and over, it might be time to say no. Okay, so sometimes it's hard to do, but it's necessary for your sanity, but also for that other individual, especially if it's a adult child or any other family member. It could be a sibling who's asking for the same favor over and over. They're not getting any better. They're not changing in that area of their lives, but they're coming to you because they know you have always been the rescue. At some point, you have to put your foot down and say no. Not only is this going to benefit you and help you to keep your sanity, but it's also going to force them to do something different. If you're the enabler and you're always allowing them to be rescued by your efforts and your kindness, then you are actually crippling them or helping them to cripple themselves. So saying no is not only for you, but it's for that other individual as well. If you are dealing with self esteem issues, or you find that you really need the approval of others because you don't feel as valuable as you should, that's something you're going to want to work on. Whether you read some books, pray, and talk to God about it, and He's definitely a helper, and He can help you with that. For my Christian friends out there, you can go to God for anything. And one way to get your self esteem where it needs to be is to get into your word and find out what God thinks of you, because you should not think any less of yourself than God does. And believe me, He thinks very highly of you. He thinks very highly of you. He's not angry with you. He's not disappointed in you. And so you need to not be angry with yourself about whatever decisions you might have made in your life, whatever mistakes you may have made. Um, Whatever it is, He loves you unconditionally. And when you can see yourself the way that He does, your self esteem will shoot through the roof, and you will be able to stand up to people who may look down on you and say no when you have to say no. When we see ourselves through God's eyes, we don't have to have the approval of people. Yes, it's nice for people to like us, but we don't live for their approval when we understand that we have God's approval. And when we don't need the approval of others, we find it easier to say no whenever it's necessary. Yes, we help people because that's what we do as Christians. We help, but we are not to be taken advantage of or to allow ourselves to be taken advantage of. So there's a difference in being helpful and being a doormat. So let's see ourselves the way God sees us, learn how to say no when we need to say no, and not have any guilt about it. How do we overcome people pleasing? Well, I'm going to give you 5 steps. First of all, acknowledge the problem. Okay, before you can change a problem, you have to acknowledge that it exists. Acknowledge the problem, indicate, say to yourself, okay, self, I'm always saying yes. I'm burnt out doing things for people. I'm becoming resentful, allowing people to walk all over me. It's making me angry. I've got to learn to say no. But first, acknowledge that you have the problem. Okay? The second thing you want to do is set some boundaries. You have some people in your life who probably know that you are likely to say yes. And because they know this, they continually come to you to solve their problems. Well, you're going to have to go ahead and have a conversation with them. Let them know that I am not here to pay all of your debts, to bail you out, of every situation. It's time for you to learn to do that on their own. So no, I will not be doing that. You might as well not ask me again. But if you do, the answer is going to be no. Now, that sounds like a mouthful if you are someone who's always given in. So you may have to do it in steps. So what you can do is start small. Say no to maybe some of the smaller asks, okay? Just give it a try. Say no. It's very empowering. Prioritize self-care. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Whenever you're allowing yourself to be, run over by others, you're not practicing self-care. So let's learn to do what's best for us for a change and not what's best for everybody else. Challenge those negative thoughts that you have regarding saying no. Some of those thoughts are like, well, they're going to be angry with me. Well, challenge that. Say to yourself, what if they're angry with me? Will I die? No, you won't die. Will I not have their approval? Possibly. But is having their approval worth your being resentful, angry, used? No, it's not. So talk about those things with yourself, so what if they're mad at me? What is it, the end of the world? They'll likely get over it. And if they don't get over it, well, they might not have been genuine friends or loving you as family members as genuinely as they should. But don't allow yourself to be run over. Don't allow yourself to be a people pleaser. Take care of yourself. Love yourself enough to say no. If you've been struggling with saying no to people, let me know in the comments. We can talk about this as a community. Let me know if you're having a hard time saying no and why you think you're having a hard time saying no. If you're someone who conquered that Share that with us in the comments as well, because others would like to hear how you got over being a yes man. Okay, so don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And also, if you would like for me to talk more on this topic, give me your ideas in the comments, and I will, consider making a video about it. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and I look forward to the next time. Bye bye.